Hey guys, welcome to the Hotline Chat. You know where it's at. It's the conversation for me.
It's the authenticity and friendship and vibes for me. Welcome in, everyone. Hope everybody is healthy. Hope everybody is well. Today, before we start on the topic, a couple of things I've been watching. Every time I'm going to try to give y'all like what I've been watching lately. But I watched Castlevania. It's an animated series on Netflix. Adult animation. Has some gore in there as well. I love the series though. Season 4 was the last season to come out, and it was awesome. I ain't gonna say it was dope. It was real dope. I think that's the only thing I watched. I watched that Michael B. Jordan movie. It was cool. My man
I watched it too. After you said it wasn't that good.
I didn't say it wasn't. I said it was cool.
Oh.
What you think of it?
You know what? I thought it was a good movie. I feel like it was an action movie. That was the whole purpose of it. So I don't know like what your expectation was going in, but I feel like it was a good movie. I feel like it had a good story. You know what I'm saying? It's not my favorite movie, but I think it was good. I think it was well made.
It was alright.
What didn't you like about it?
I don't like it. I'm just saying it wasn't like the story is like been done a million times.
Oh, okay.
Like motherfucker shoot me this and that. Oh, I gotta get my revenge. Like, you know.
But it's not really about. I mean, it's about the story, right? And it's also like about the action too. It's kind of like well, I wouldn't say a boring movie because the boring movies have a pretty good plot. But you know, it's like John Wick is what you were saying. Right?
No, it ain't. I wouldn't say like. Have you ever seen other Tom Clancy movies? Possibly. Like Sum of All Fears. Clear Present Danger, things. It's in that same action aspect. If you were watching any of those Tom Clancy movies, because this is a Tom Clancy movie itself. But that's what I expected. I just when I was watching, I was like, oh, okay. So I'm glad I didn't go to the movies to see it. Basically, you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't have went to the movies to see that.
Have you gone to the movies to see any movies lately?
No, but when Quiet Place 2 come out,
that was a good movie.
It comes out next Friday on 28th. I'm going to see that.
I went to the movies.
What you going to see?
Demon Slayer, the movie.
Oh, I want to see that too.
It was actually pretty good. I won't spoil it.
You should watch this first season.
Huh?
You should watch the first season if you like the movie.
I already did. Why do you think I went to go watch the movie?
Say less.
That's my jam. I love me some Demon Slayer. That's my anime. My go-to. My recommendation. Number 1. Go ahead.
Anyways.
But yeah, it's a really good movie. If you don't know anything about Demon Slayer, I would definitely say watch the series first and then watch the movie. Make sure you grab some Kleenexes.
I wouldn't say all that.
Have you watched the movie?
Not the movie. Oh, you talking about the movie?
Yes.
Oh no.
Okay, so yeah, make sure you grab some Kleenexes. You know, maybe even if you a thug like Victor, you might have you need a little that one tear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I want to see it. I'm waiting for it to come on some streaming. So
I think it's going to come out July, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn, that's a long time. Cool. And lastly but not least, album drop, J. Cole's album. Okay album. I call this a mid. It didn't blow me away. When I listened to it through a few times, and there's not like something that I was like, oh, this is gonna be album of the year. It doesn't hit me with that. But it depends on what comes out this year. But I do respect them for coming out first. Because ain't nobody else dropping nothing. So you give them that.
Yeah, I think it was a good album. It's not my favorite J. Cole album, but it was good.
What's your favorite J. Cole album?
Forest Hills Drive.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
You think it's just hard for him to live up to that?
So I was listening to something recently, and they were like, as artists, you shouldn't want to live up to like your most memorable work because that work has its own like essence and has its own space. Yeah. So it's all about creating something new. So, I mean, I don't think it could be duplicated because it's already been made. And then if it's duplicated, it's like you're going to be listening to the same thing. Like The Baby, you know, he's cool or whatever, but it's like all his songs kind of, sound the same. So I think it's good that he's doing something different. I feel like in this album and, a little bit of the last album too, he's been trying to, just stretch himself. So Yeah, it was
working with
cool.
other producers and stuff like
And then Nicki re-released "Beam Me Up, Scotty."
Yeah.
Yep. So that was cool. And I know
4 unreleased tracks, I think.
yes, and I saw like she's gonna be putting some visuals out soon or something like that. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, Sabrine is out in Jamaica, living her best life.
Getting a groove back.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's Stella got a groove.
She never lost it.
Okay, all right, never mind.
So, yeah, she won't be here, but we are sending you our love and positive energy over to Jamaica. So,
Most def. And the topic of today is changing mindsets as you age. The reason I thought about this is because I was having a conversation with a friend, and she was basically saying like how she's very she used to be very, how can I say, feminist kind of towards, or more like, activist, feminist in the activist space or whatnot, where she was very like, very, how can I say it? It's very like it has to be this way. This is the way it is. This is the way it is.
uncompromising.
Yeah, uncompromised. There we go.
You never say words. No, I'm kidding.
And she was telling me how she got old, how she's gotten older. That mindset has changed, and she wants a very like she's going into a more traditional relationship as far as a relationship with her boyfriend or whatnot. And it made me think about all the things that I've changed in my mindset as I've got older. Like there used to be a time when I was like in my 20s when I was like, oh man, I'll sell drugs before I work at McDonald's. And now I look back and I'm like, that nigga I was stupid. I was wild, type deal. But I was gonna ask you, like, what's some mindsets that you had in the past that has changed for you now as you got older through experience or seeing things?
I would say the biggest one is the mindset of having to have it all figured out. I would definitely say I was always trying to have all the answers. If I didn't have all the answers, I was trying to get all the answers. If I couldn't get all the answers, I was stressed. And now I'm more aware of like what I want, but I'm okay with not knowing how it's going to happen sometimes. And I feel like that's put me in the best position to actually receive some of the things that I want quicker. So I would say that's one thing. The other thing that I would say is believing that people are all innately good. I still have that belief, but the mindset of I feel like people have good in them, but the mindset of like, giving people the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again is not necessarily something that I see or value anymore. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think it does.
So yeah, I would definitely say that. I feel like there's probably more in different areas of my life.
But just to go off of what you just said, because my view is like, I wouldn't say opposite, but it is away from yours, where you say like people are innately good. For me, I always see people as not a right or, like, I've kind of got to a point where like it's not about right or wrong. People act in their best interest most of the time.
Yeah.
And your best interest will always be in my view of things, your best interest will always go to the downfall or the sacrifice of someone else. And that's just it's the way the world is. You can't take from something and then, and not take from someone else. Like, this is the way it is. Everything that we do in life is someone at the bottom is getting hurt off of that. So
I disagree.
Yeah.
So everything we do in life, someone is getting hurt from. So let's say, for example, I make some money or whatever, and I'm like, let me go ahead and, hire one of my friends to like work in a position. So now they're making money. Mm-hmm. How does that hurt them?
What are y'all making money doing?
So let's say, for example, I have a videography business,
mm-hmm.
and, I need somebody to be an assistant for me. And I know somebody who has a virtual assistant company mm-hmm. who, I have a friendship with. Instead of going out and hiring somebody else, I hire them.
So maybe this is more on a mic, because I think you're thinking of a micro immediate facility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, and again, nobody should always think of this, but I'm saying on a macro level as well. So like anything technology we use is the suffrage of someone else.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Then.
So
Yes.
that's what I mean by that. Like the world, that's the word the world is.
There's
now.
a cost to everything.
Correct.
Okay.
So not on an immediate level, but like on a macro level scale, then that's when I'm like, okay, that's when someone is suffering from that.
Right.
So that's where I like look at things and be like, okay, that's the way it is. You can try to limit what you do, but you can never take away fully what you do because you have the conveniences that you live with that. So I like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of that type of deal. But also like, what's some views in relationships that you looked at that you think that's changed? You look like you wasn't ready.
No, I think, so one of the things that I was actually thinking about this is I used to believe that things had to happen at a specific time in a relationship.
Mm.
So like, I just had like
it'd be like, oh, if I ain't
a
married by this time,
or like if I don't have kids by this time, or even in my career, like if I don't have if I haven't retired by the time I'm 30, you know what I'm saying, like things like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just a failure, So now I'm learning to be, and not even learning, I'm embracing and I enjoy the process of getting to the different stages in life, and I'm enjoying it not always looking the way that maybe yes. So I think I would definitely say that. What about you?
I think I'm a little bit more, and I think this goes for a lot of people too, but for me it's like I'm a little bit more understanding of people's of my faults and also others' faults as well when it comes to like when I feel like something has slighted me. Like there is, like I could think of past relationships where I felt like at the time slighted, and it was like, okay, cool, you did this on purpose. This is what you do, blah, blah, blah. You plan this out. But I think there's people who do things on purpose and people who are manipulative. And there's people that they fucked up.
They're
you know what I'm saying?
uneducated. They don't have the experience.
And they did something wrong. Like it did something wrong, but take the right and wrong out of it. It's the fact of it is like it wasn't like a planned thing. It happened and it just happened, and that's the way they are. And just be like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Not to take it like you feel some way because it happened to you,
right?
But like, don't make it seem like it was premeditated murder type.
It wasn't
thing.
intentional, right?
You know what I'm saying? And I've become way more understanding of like people's my flaws and also other people's flaws as well. Whereas like I can't, for me, I don't see people, when people make mistakes, it depends on the mistake, of course. But when people make mistakes, I don't say they can't be, they're human beings. They're going to do that,
Yeah.
I think that's why I have a thing with like the cancel culture thing too, because I feel like when people make mistakes, they just like, they want to reform prisoners, but not people who like tweet the wrong thing. Like it's crazy.
No, it depends on what you tweet, and it depends on how you live your life after the fact. Everyone has the ability to grow, but anyways, we're not talking about cancel culture right now. I'm the opposite. So I used to.
You less understanding of people's flaws, or?
I am, yes, because I was too understanding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, you did all this. It's okay. It's all right. And it wasn't. So now I'm a lot more. The quote, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. Mm-hmm. So like I still give people the benefit of the doubt because I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and I wanted people to give me the benefit of the doubt and really like take a look at who I am. So I still do that. But if you show me, a sign of something that isn't necessarily something that I want to rock with, then I'm not going to ignore it and be like overly understanding. So now I feel like I have a good balance between the two.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm speaking of is not like being overly understanding as well, too.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but like I was overly understanding before. Now I'm just understanding. But I'm also like, okay, well, we gonna address whatever it is. And
like, you ain't got to keep people in your life that, who do stuff to you. But for me, I just like, I might not keep you in my life, but I'm not gonna like kick your back in. You know what I'm saying? Kick your back in or do anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, no, I get that. When you say, so do you think that's the correct, and maybe there is no correct path, but do you think that's the correct path from your overly understanding to all of a sudden swinging to the, from what you said, was like swinging to the opposite side? I mean, like not understanding, like, no, fuck that, fam.
Well, I'm not like, no, fuck that, fam. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like that. It's like, it's just from like the extreme of like being a pushover and being like, you know, a people pleaser to just having someone who has like standards and, you know, has boundaries and has an understanding of what I like and what I don't like. You know, I used to feel like a mindset that I had was everybody had to like me, you know, and now I'm like, you know, the people that don't like me will like me. The people that don't won't, you know, or like, let's say, for example, somebody did something to me that I didn't like. I might hold like, you know, resentment or anger about the situation, but I'll still have that person constantly in my life. And so now it's like, okay, I see that, you know, this is what happened. This is how I feel about it. You know, if I feel like it needs to be addressed, I'll go ahead and address it. And then, you know, I pick and choose like who I want to keep in my life, but I'm not in a place where I'm trying to make people like me. Like, I'm okay with how I am. And I feel like part of being too understanding was trying to get people to like me or trying to get people to see me and validate who I was. Because I'm not in that space, you know, I'm okay with who I am. And I feel like the people that are in my life, you know, like are good people. So I feel like my path and my journey has made me the best version of who I am right now. And there's still a lot of growth and places that I need to go, and things that I need to change. But where I'm at right now, I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, you know what? I like who you are. You know, you are somebody who cares for people still. You're somebody who still believes that there's good out there. You're somebody who's still understanding, but you're also somebody who has boundaries. You're also somebody who doesn't allow people to mistreat you. And that's an accomplishment for me.
And that's something that I guess changes with age. Do you think that maybe, so how do you learn as you're growing up? Like, because for me, I heard this saying like a couple months ago or whatnot, like, you know, wise people learn from, what is it, like smart people learn from the mistakes, your mistakes, wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
Facts. That's me.
So which one?
I've always been, I guess, like, obviously I had my own experiences, okay, right? Where like I had to learn from my own mistakes. Mm-hmm. But if like, for example, I see somebody has done something and they've gotten an outcome, I've always been, okay, how did they get that outcome? How can I get the same outcome, or how can I avoid that outcome? I've always tried to look at that, because I feel like, especially like, let's say in romantic relationships, I've only been in, I wouldn't even count my first relationship, because my first relationship was in high school. In my senior year, because I wasn't allowed to date and stuff, so it was on the low. But it wasn't a real relationship. It was just like, like, oh my God, I have a boyfriend. Oh my God, he's cool, he's cute, da da da. But it wasn't like a real thing. Okay. My second relationship lasted 6 months because I was just like, I'm not feeling it. Okay. And you know the relationship I'm in now. You feel me? So yeah, I feel like I took a lot of time not being in a relationship because I was subconsciously and consciously looking at things that people were doing that were successful and not successful. Really? Yes. And for me, I felt like all I needed to do was see what people did that didn't get them the result that they didn't want. And then I just needed to make sure that I didn't take those same actions. So and then the people who have successful relationships and marriages, even if I don't know them personally, I take a look and see what do they say that makes their, marriage successful? What do they say that makes their friendship successful? What do they say that makes this successful?
But I don't know, because it feels very, like, relationships are so random. Like, things are so random. So how can you really like gather something for somebody else's that's so random and then apply that?
Because it's not about the events that happen. It's more about so like, for example, I'll give you an example. So for example, I was friends with somebody who was in a really toxic relationship.
Okay.
The person was a serial cheater. My friend also was very controlling. And there was there were like different things that contributed to the demise of that relationship. So it's not necessarily about the events, right? But in the conversations that I had with her and in the conversations that I had with him, because sometimes, I don't know, we would all end up talking about relationships. There were things that they said about what they wanted, how they felt. Because the thing is, love and relationships are a part of the human experience.
Correct.
Right? So regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of what you believe, we all experience relationships in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But there are some core things that help us to be able to feel like our relationship is productive. For example, if I felt like in a relationship somebody was being unfaithful,
Okay.
right? I've seen people, put their hands on a person and be like, F you, and go back, right? I've also seen people who have left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've also seen people who have been somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really pay attention to like the action, but I pay attention to how did they process that? How did they overcome that feeling of, insecurity that now has been added that wasn't there before? I take a look at the root, not necessarily at the cause or the symptom. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah.
So then I feel like I can always take something valuable and apply it to my own life, because it's not about the event and it's not about the person I'm with. It's about the principles and the foundations. It's about those inner things. Like I could have an issue in my relationship. Somebody else could have an issue in their relationship that's completely different.
Yeah.
But the way that it can be solved might be by looking at the patterns. It might be by taking time to work on yourself, because that always helps.
Yeah.
It might be by, understanding the other person and learning how to communicate effectively. And those are all things that happen within the space of a relationship, but can be transferred to your life and can be transferred to a partner, regardless of what you're in. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Because I guess I did it the wrong way then. Because I never, so for me, I looked at other people's relationships, aging as I was aging. And then I was just like, looking at the people that they were with and then being like, oh, that's not a quality that I would want in somebody that I'm with. Because I've seen those things as well, where like, fights, physical and all that stuff. You have the mental things as well. And I always thought like, I just don't want that in my life. And I just like the person that I'm with. I just don't want to have those qualities in them. But also myself, I just like, I don't want to have certain qualities where I'm just super aggressive about everything and aggressive about like, when it comes to a work person you're dating, how, you're being aggressive about things that you shouldn't be aggressive at all like that. But you know what I'm saying?
No, clarify for the people, because I might know, but they might not know.
No, just like physically being aggressive, like having an argument and being physically aggressive, like it's not needed at all.
Mm-hmm.
And on both sides too, because I've seen like women, stab guys and stuff like that before too. So it's kind of a thing where like, that's things I just didn't want in my life. So I was like, okay, when I see someone like this, I don't want to date that type of person. But then again, that can be a wrong term, because how do you know that's that type of person, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How do you know who is that type of person who is
Right.
until you get in that relationship,
Right.
get in a relationship with them, right? So I took the wrong approach. It was like, oh, I don't want to date this type of person. If they have these type of qualities, I don't want to date them. I never thought about like looking at the root cause or anything like that.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I do in everything. That's why, like, I feel like that's part of why I can always see another perspective, because I always try to look at what can I gain from this person's experience. I feel like if I can avoid negative experiences, if I can avoid going through the trials and tribulations, because there will already be some, then I would rather, you know what I'm saying, see what I can learn from another person than go through the fire myself. You know,
I mean, yeah.
You know, I mean, it toughens you up, and there's cause for that, but it's like, why add more to you?
Yeah.
And if it's there and it's accessible, then that means that, for me, I feel like that's just God guiding me to be able to get the answers or the wisdom that I need so that I can take the steps that I need to get closer to where I want to get.
Yeah. I think, because I was, me growing up, I was more focused on, like, relationships was just such a backseat to me because I didn't know when I would ever be in a relationship. I think my first relationship was like 18 or whatnot, right? And like my whole thought process was like, what I'm taking away from my surrounding friends is like, I don't want to sell drugs. This is the reason why I don't want to sell drugs, because I'm looking at them and I'm like, it don't look like it's it don't look like it's that cool, right?
But that's wisdom. That's like taking.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I can say. I looked in that perspective, like when I was like, oh, I'm looking at them do this, and I'm looking at other people around me do this. And I'm like, it don't look like it's a very like manageable thing that's going to be a long term thing. So like, I don't want to do that. But when I looked at relationships, I never. Most of the thing in my relationship has always been like from my experiences. Like I learned from my experiences and the people that I've been in relationships from or interacted with in that intimate manner. But yeah, that's crazy. I ain't never, the root cause thing, I ain't never think about that. I've been doing this shit wrong.
I mean, it's not wrong.
I mean, it's too late now.
It's not wrong. It made you who you are today.
Yeah.
That makes me think of like parents too. Because I feel like when you're a kid, your mindset is, my parents should know how to do everything. My parents, you know what I'm saying? For me, at least, let me speak for myself. For me as a kid, a mindset that I had was, my parents should know what I need. My parents should, be able to, understand me more than anybody else. My parents should X, Y, and Z. And now that I've like grown up a little bit, I feel like I'm more understanding of the fact that parents are people. That have also had their own experiences. And I would say especially these past 2-3 months, I've really been in a space where I'm seeing more of like the humanity, the human aspect of my parents. Because prior to that, it was like, you're my mom and dad. You're not a person, you're my mom and dad. And so I feel like that's something that really has shifted the way that, I interact or the way that I view them. So I would definitely say that.
I'm just saying, even to add on to that, I think I talked about this before in the podcast, but like, I got to an age now where I can not be so angry at my father for those exact same reasons, because like I look at him as a human being. He is my father, but take away that aspect from it. He has some things that he hasn't dealt with, in his life, and like, trying to be a father to me and my brother, and then also deal with whatever he got going on. I can be understanding of that. When I was younger, I wasn't very understanding that, but I don't know if I ever looked at my parents like, you can do everything, because I think, or you should understand it.
But like I shouldn't say you could do everything.
My mom hit me with the closed mouth don't get fed. If you don't say something, you be left out this morning. And that's what I was told.
Maybe not that you could do everything, but like not saying
know everything.
Yeah, you should know everything. I was like, how come you don't? I don't know. I saw my parents as like the end all be all for things, and now it's like, okay, cool. Like I see people based on the capacity that they have for different things. So like, if your strength is, even for like my friends, if your strength is this thing, I'm gonna take a look at you from that point of view, instead of having expectations that are just unrealistic because I have this viewpoint or idea of what I think it should look like. And that's another thing too, like, I'm in the process of writing the book, but one thing that I've definitely changed over my time here on this planet is the belief that things have to look a certain way, and the belief that my expectations are the truth and nothing but the truth, because like I always felt like if I felt like this, then that's just how it should be. You know, if I felt like I was going to be able to accomplish, you know, retiring my parents and having all these things by the age of 30, then that's how it should be. And or if I felt like somebody should understand my point of view, then it should look this particular way. And now I'm not putting an expectation on it, but I still have the goals. So it gives me more freedom to, kind of what I was saying earlier, be able to see multiple avenues instead of being so tunnel focused on my own perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's changed for me as well, one other thing that's changed for me as far as like I throw less expectations on myself.
Yeah.
Or on other people as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean no expectations. That doesn't mean that I don't have any standards or anything like that. But like I stopped throwing so much expectation because you keep throwing your own expectations on other people to expect certain things, and like they're never going to meet that. Nobody's ever going to meet the expectations that you set for them. You have to meet them where they're at. And a lot of times I think when I was younger, I used to have expectations of what certain people, and then I always get disappointed. I'm like, oh, okay, that's, you know, and I'd be like feeling like something was done to me, or I felt like I was.
Facts.
But then if I, you know, stop putting expectation, just go into it with a fresh mindset of like who they get to know a person. Like expectation is really just stereotyping on another language of using that, because you're just going in there and saying this is what I expect for some person. This is what they're supposed to be doing for me. But you don't even know that person that well to be able to know what they can do for you. So.
And even if you know a person, you know, we live our lives through our lens and through our perspective. You know, before you came in here today, I was not thinking, you know, about anything that you were doing, you know, like I was focused on the things that I was doing because all I can see is from my perspective and my experience. And so when we get into relationships or friendships, or, you know, we have working relationships with people, we have this expectation that they are going to take a look at things or understand things or see things from our point of view, because, you know, all of us in some way have our ego connected to how we view the world. And so when we can start to, you know, kind of like dismantle that way of thinking, it gives people the freedom to actually have more free and flowing and, I think, positive interactions. And there's a distinction between an expectation and a standard. I can have a standard that all of, you know, the people that are in my life are going to respect me, right? Yeah. But my expectation might be that, you know, people respect me by, you know, calling me every single day. Like, their expectations are very specific, and expectations are very narrow, versus like a standard is just like, this is what it is, but it gives other people and you as well the freedom to be able to step into different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely say that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like a lot of times, like I said, like I was saying before, a lot of times I've hopped into things. It's just like I've set expectations that just weren't met, and that's on me because of those expectations I set. So yeah, I definitely I can vibe with all that. I think I just had a brain freeze again.
Oh really? Mm-hmm. That's funny. I can think of something else too. That I used to have the mindset that I should be good at something right away.
Really? Or you think this ain't the Matrix? You don't get down.
But I was good at things right away. So I felt like, you know what I'm saying? When it was a little bit of a struggle, I'm like, something's wrong with me. Why am I not picking up on this so quickly? And even now, like with me finishing up school this year, when I first started school, I was like, I need to be great at this the same way that I've been great at some other things. And it was really like, it put a lot of pressure on me. From myself, I put pressure on myself because I was trying to do things and be perfect at it right away, when there's a progression to life and there's a progression to greatness. And yeah, that's definitely a mindset that shifted.
I mean, I could think of one. I just thought of one. I used to do a lot of things the hard way, and I used to always think if I do it the hard way, that's always the better way. Like for some reason, I always thought, the hard way is the better way.
Yeah. Because
like,
you got to struggle.
Yeah, and I like, to be honest with you, I put myself through a lot of struggle, especially in Minnesota. I put myself through a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
A lot of lost sleep, just working like 2-3 jobs and going to school and doing this. Like I did a lot for I didn't have to do that.
Yeah. You could have taken an easier route.
Yeah.
And still had character and developed.
Yeah.
And all of that.
And then so for me, I just now I kind of now I've kind of leaned back and you know what I'm saying, I don't have to do things the hard way anymore. But that is something that really changed, because there's a lot of times where especially when you there's times where you do have to do that. I mean, there's times where there's no option. You have to do that. You have to grind. That's just what it is. But you have to be able to differentiate between when you have to and when you don't, because that's a lot of lost time that you never get back.
Yeah.
And when you lose that time, like I was saying, you don't get it back. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of years working, just straight working, and I didn't have to do that. So that was one thing. What's
a mindset that you have currently that you are trying to shift or change?
Currently?
Mm-hmm.
I guess just being more emotionally communicative. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, communicative.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, for me, go ahead.
Oh no, I say I can communicate when I don't like something. Like I'll be like, I don't like that, G. I can be, but if I like something, I might be like, hey, I might not say nothing. Yeah. But I'm just not very I can't communicate. I can. I'm not very good at communicating when I do like something or something like that. So
yeah. I want to shift the mindset that I asked that question, not even having.
You look at that. Let me get a drink. Go ahead, do your thing.
Oh, okay.
Let me sip my tea.
A mindset that I want to shift. It has more so to do with my habits. So I self-sabotage sometimes.
Oh, maybe say that sometimes.
So I want to shift the mindset of I'm thinking through my thoughts, trying to figure out how to articulate this. Oh, okay. So something that I'm trying to shift. So the reason why I self-sabotage is because throughout my life, the way that I've experienced people is for me specifically, if I show them what I can do, and I'm talking about self-sabotage specifically in the area of opportunities in career, because I have been presented with opportunities that I end up not taking or, basically procrastinating on. And in my life, whenever I've shown people something that I've been able to do, they've latched on. And when I say latched on, I mean they care more about what I can do for them more than they do about who I am.
Okay.
And so then it becomes about these different things that I can do for them and less about the interaction or the relationship that I have with that person. And especially in the work realm, when people get a small dose of something, I feel like they want more, and they want more, multiplied. And one of the things that I enjoy doing is finding out faster ways of doing the same thing. It's like a secret, I don't know how to explain it, but I really like doing it. If I can find a way to do something faster that, took somebody else 3 hours, I'm gonna find out how to do it. And so when people see that you can do something faster or more effective, they latch on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced that in my personal relationships as well. And so I feel like I only give people enough of what I think they can handle before what I do matters more than who I am. And so I'm trying to shift the mindset of feeling like people are always going to be that way, because to be honest, if I'm going to be quite frank, I've only probably used about 20% of the capacity that I had in like my career and in my life. And a lot of the times I hold myself back, because I don't want to have that negative experience, and I don't know if I'm strong enough to be able to create and set and maintain some of those boundaries with people. So I really am in a journey of changing the way that my habits are, because my habits enable me to stay in that space. And so, yeah, I don't know if that made sense to you guys, but I hope it did.
Well, so my question to you is so what I'm getting from you is the fact that you sometimes you don't give your all because people latch on to what you can do instead of what you could, except for the person who you are.
90% of the time.
Then my question for you, do you feel like you have enough real people in your life who care about you to worry about that?
I do have real people in my life.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That care about me.
Yeah, I know.
But in the realm of my career, people don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a lot of energy to be at 100%, right? Why are you looking like that?
I'm just trying to understand. When you say and your workforce, you talking about it's hard to
and in personal relationships. Okay, so let's say for example, you know what?
You just hit me with the know what. So what's up?
I guess this is why I'm trying to change that, because I do have good people in my life that do care about me, and that want the best for me.
Because it seems like you're trying to add people onto that, is what it sounds like.
It's not even adding people onto that. It's in the realm of my career, if I'm going to be great, in a specific field, right? Because everyone knows how much they can do. Everyone knows how far they can take things. I'll give you an example. When I was working, you know what I'm saying? Back at the place you working, you feel me? I was very much operating at 5%. Okay. And when I first started working there, I was just doing things or whatever. And then I moved over to, the other side or whatever. Yeah. And when I started showing a little glimmer of, 15%, it was oh, you got this? I want you to do this. Mm-hmm. I want you to do that. I want you to do that. And then it just kind of became overwhelming because, and so it's not, I wouldn't say it's more so about other people. It's more so about me not feeling like I have the strength to be able to, create and set those boundaries, because I feel bad. Because I'm dang, well, I could just do it, So then I end up either doing it, or I end up being nah, I'm just gonna go back to how it was before. And it really robs me.
Spot.
Yeah, it really robs me of being able to fulfill on my purpose and fulfill on the things that I feel like God has called me to do. So I'm really just trying to figure out a way out of that, because I've lived my life protecting myself from that for so long. So now it's trying to figure out how I can feel confident enough in the strength within myself that, hey, no matter what opportunity gets presented at you, no matter what comes your way, you're going to be able to maneuver in a way where you're doing yourself justice and you're operating at 100% capacity, and people aren't latching on to you. And I just haven't figured out how to do that. And I don't know if it's something I just haven't figured out how to do that. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm also trying to seek wisdom from someone who, I'm trying to find a life coach or, a mentor or somebody that can kind of help me and guide me in figuring out how to move myself out of the negative habits that I have right now.
Yeah, because I was going to say, people always latch on to greatness. That is what it is, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you're successful and people latch on, there's two ways that it can go. You can either be the person that gives in and you lose so much of yourself and you go through all of these different things, because that's what happens, or you can be the person that's able to stand in the midst of that success. Because the thing is, it's gonna hurt, you know, when you care about other people, when you care about contributing to other people, because I enjoy doing that, right? It hurts when you have to say to someone, you know, I know that I can do this, but I'm choosing not to do this. It's like that cost that you were talking about. It's not about, you know, the latching on. It's about having to have people separate from that. And that's hard for me because I care about people. I care about, you know, and when you know you could do it, you're just like, well, let me try, and then it's like it becomes too much. So I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If someone's watching this and, you know what I'm saying, you a life coach, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to find a mentor, I'm manifesting and praying for somebody to help me and guide me in, you know, just becoming a little better. Because I feel like, I always say, we create from the inside out, and that part of my insides needs to be shifted.
Most of.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I didn't know. I mean, you told me about the self-sabotage part, but I didn't know about the other parts of it.
Yeah, that's really why. So.
But with that, look at that.
That was my phone, and I have a meeting, speaking of capacities, that I have to get to. So tune in for part 2.
All right, peace out.